at least 2 people are dead and at least 30 wounded after a Russian attack hit medical sites in the Ukrainian city of Dnipro. A hospital was among the sites damaged. The mayor says it's a miracle doctors were changing shifts when the attack happened. It means that fewer people were working at the time of the strike. Sirens could be heard over Kyiv. Those sirens you just heard there happening as drone and missile strikes occurred overnight. Ukraine says it shot down 10 missiles and over 20 drones. Across the border, the Russians are reporting more attacks inside the Belgorod region. Further away, an explosion has been reported in the Russian city of Krasnodar. Social media video appears to show a drone flying above the city. Moments later, there is some kind of blast. Fred Pleitgen is in Ukraine's capital, Kyiv. Let's talk more about the attack on this medical facility. Fred, we know that 2 people are dead. Just walk us through what happened and just sort of set the scene for us in terms of what you know so far.
Yeah, this happened in the early morning hours of this morning, Zain, and it happened, as you already very correctly put it, as there were strikes going on, Russian strikes throughout the country, throughout Ukraine here. In fact, in the early morning hours and overnight, we did hear sirens here in Kyiv, and we also heard the air defenses here around Kyiv at work as well. The strike on Dnipro happened a little bit later in the morning hours of this morning, and it hit that medical facility, which also has a veterinarian facility nearby as well. And some of the video that was coming out of that area in the early stages was just absolutely horrifying, where injured people were trying to save themselves and get out of that building. People were helping them get out. A lot of people drenched in blood, essentially. And then, of course, you have that toll of 30 people who were injured, a lot of them still in hospital, some of them in quite critical condition, and 2 people who have been killed. Now, the latest that we have from the Ukrainians is they say that they believe that for this strike that hit that medical facility, that ballistic missiles were used on the part of the Russians, either S-300 or S-400 missiles. And just to put that into context for our viewers, those are missiles that are normally used to shoot down airplanes. However, they also have a mode where they can be used against ground targets in a surface-to-surface configuration. However, when you use them that way, they become extremely inaccurate. And of course, if you then use them to shoot into an urban area, the kind of things happen that happens today, where this medical facility was hit. And you know, it was obviously pretty much completely destroyed. A big fire broke out. Rescue crews are still on the scene looking to see whether there are further survivors or people still, maybe still buried beneath the rubble there. So a major strike. It's been condemned by Ukraine's president, by the First Lady of Ukraine, by countries internationally as well. But of course, it is something that we've seen very frequently here in Ukraine, where we've had these massive missile strikes across the country that in some cases have also hit civilian facilities as well, Zain.
Right, Fred Pleitgen, live for us there. Thank you so much. CNN's Sam Kiley has just arrived and joins us live now. So Sam, here's the thing. The mayor was saying that doctors were actually changing their shift when this strike happened, and that's a miracle because it meant that fewer people were actually working. Just talk us through what you're seeing and hearing on the ground there.
Well, Zain, it was a fluke, if there's any good fortune in this very gruesome outcome, but the scale of the devastation on this building is quite obvious. This was not one of those Iranian Shahed drones carrying a mere 40 kilograms of high explosive, deadly those they've been supplied in vast quantities to the Iranians, by the Iranians to the Russians. This is something quite different. There's been some speculation among government officials here that this may have been an S-300, which is an enormous, traditionally anti-aircraft missile, but it's been used increasingly ruthlessly by the by the Russians against civilian targets. Now, this is a medical facility, Zain, and as such would be more than 40 other medical facilities have been hit in the course of just over a year of this war prosecuted by Russia against Ukraine. The French government, among others, in the international community have said that the targeting of medical facilities amounts to a war crime. Now, the Russians could perhaps argue that this is an accident due to poor targeting, but it is also in a densely populated residential area. If you just look over here, behind this fence here, block of flats, another block of flats there, another block of flats there. It's all a residential area. There's even a football pitch being built just over here, a soccer pitch, I should say. And this is what the Russians are intent on doing, taking down and destroying a medical clinic. More than 40 others have been destroyed or attacked by Russia over the last year. And we saw this, of course, during the Syrian civil war, and continue to see it indeed, where the Russians are also operational in both contexts, certainly in the Syrian context, the absolutely systematic and deliberate targeting of medical facilities.
Yeah, and just looking behind you, I mean, certainly a grim task ahead for rescue crews, as they may indeed still be looking for people who might be trapped in the rubble. Sam, Kiley live for us there in Dnipro on the ground outside that medical facility that was just attacked. Sam, thank you.